On behalf of the new member for Oxley, I acknowledge the presence in the gallery today of the former member of the Australia House of Representatives, representing the seat of Richmond, the Right Honourable Larry Anthony, the former member for Maitland, the Honourable Robin Parker, Honourable Patricia Forsyth, the former member for Clarence, Steve Cansdell, local government representatives, family, friends and supporters of the new member for Oxley. I welcome you all to the Legislative Assembly Gallery today. Please welcome, and I do, the member for Oxley.
Congratulations, Mr Deputy Speaker, on your appointment, and gee, it's good to have you back in this place. I would like to start my time in this place by thanking the people of Oxley for asking me to represent them in the oldest parliament in Australia. I also pay respect to the descendants of the First Nation, the Gumbaynggirr, the Dunghutti and the Biripi people in Oxley. I've got to say, democracy in New South Wales is in fairly good hands. The inaugural speeches of the class of 2015 have been inspiring, have been warm, have been generous, and the people, they're good people that have come into this chamber, and I'm proud to be part of that team. The people of Oxley have shown faith that my 12 years of experience in the other place, I have the knowledge, the experience and the will to continue the strong representation that Oxley has enjoyed for 16 years. People also know I'd spent my formative years on a dairy farm, that I had worked in the media, that I had run a successful small business, took a risk and employed people and created jobs. Like the opposition leader, I have delivered an inaugural speech in the other place, so I want to take this opportunity to talk about Oxley, its people, their dreams and aspirations, the opportunities and a couple of the challenges. But a very big thank you first to the former member and Deputy Premier and my party leader for 12 years, Andrew Stoner. Andrew and Cathy are catching up on some long overdue time together, celebrating Cathy's birthday with an overseas holiday they so richly deserve. His legacy is the transformation of infrastructure in Oxley, with a freeway from one end to the other, new hospitals at Maxwell and Kempsey, and at the same time being part of the tough decisions that have ultimately helped make New South Wales #1 again. It's my job to see that those projects are finished, and with the planning meeting of the Maxwell community today about the design of the new hospital, we're getting on with the job. The electorate's named after the famous explorer John Oxley, who came across the headwaters of the Hastings River in 1818. On seeing the ocean from what he named Mount Seaview, he said, "Bilboa's ecstasy at the first sight of the sea could not have been greater than ours. It inspired us with new life. Every difficulty vanished, and in imagination we were already at home." He went on to become one of the 5 founding members of the nation's first representative chamber when the Legislative Council was established in 1824, and his 2 sons served in this place. The natural beauty of Oxley is breathtaking. From the mountains to the sea, 4 magnificent rivers, the Hastings, the Macleay, the Nambucca and the Bellinger. They meander from the Great Dividing Range into the Pacific Ocean, creating the best beaches and surf breaks in Australia. Oxley is the very best of coastal and country life. Dorrigo and Combine are perched on top of the Great Dividing Range with their rich red volcanic soil, a luscious patchwork of paddocks, hedges and rolling hills, creating the best dairy farmers in the country. Hello, Jenny and Michael Hurrell. Where did our Premier choose to have a much-needed break after the election campaign to recharge his batteries and catch the best waves in Australia? He chose Oxley, of course. And I was a bit worried the other day. I found myself agreeing with the new member for Newtown on one thing when she said, "I came to recognise the immense beauty of our natural environment and the powerful soothing and calming effect it can have on the madness of our world." Those words really resonate with me. And then I thought, what the hell are you doing living in Newtown? Oxley is the home for you. tribe are moving there. We must do this together, city and country. We are stronger together. We need to bridge the gap between city and country. J.C. Penney said, growth is never by mere chance. It is the result of forces working together. As a government, we need to plan for the future. We need to look forward and seize the opportunities that exist outside the gates of Sydney. The member for Epping, I agree with you 100%. Having a job is the most basic human right. That will be my #1 priority, to support job creation. Manufacturing is by far our largest industry on the Mid-North Coast, and like the lion's share of manufacturing in New South Wales, it involves food production. Norco, with the plant on the Bellinger River, 2 kilometres from my home at Urunga, is going from strength to strength, paying record prices to their dairy farmers, and is sending up to 20,000 litres of fresh Oxley milk to China every week. Smithtown is the home of Australia's favourite chocolate drink, Milo. Nestles or Nestle? I'm a Nestles girl because that was the factory we used to supply, but it is Nestle. The parent company defied the normal trend by closing their Asian plant in favour of a $60 million plant upgrade at Smithtown. They chose us for manufacturing over Asia. As a supporter of regional development, the member for Ku-ring-gai is too. He would be interested to know 2 of our local companies that we're most proud of, Planet Lighting at Bellingen and our famous Akubra company, arrived in Oxley in the 1970s through programs that encouraged larger companies out of the big smoke and into our rural communities, bringing jobs and opportunities. This has shaped our communities, and we want more businesses to look at the great advantages of relocating to our region, as well as supporting our local small and emerging businesses to grow and prosper. I will stand with my leader and Deputy Premier Troy Grant in making sure regional industry has a fair go, and I commend you for putting it firmly on the table. By uncapping the potential in the regions, we relieve the pressure in Sydney by giving people job security, a better lifestyle, without the pressure of a Sydney mortgage. As a New South Wales national for almost 30 years, I know the key to economic growth is our primary producers. I remember that our valleys produce large parcels of green beans, but now they mostly come down from Queensland. There is one exception, John Simon, my electorate council chairman, and his wife Nolene, who are in the gallery today, grow the sweetest, most delicious beans at Gladstone. Only for 4 months of the year, mind you, so they can fund their overseas holiday. But we also know the vitality and the value of our primary industry sector has gradually waned over the past few decades. But I wonder if we can do more with those vast, incredibly productive alluvial plains in the 4 valleys. Don't get me wrong, I've got nothing at all against those whose business it is to fatten Japanese bullocks for export markets, or who like to run 30 breeders on the 100-acre while they hold down jobs in town. But I wonder if the wealth of Oxley's natural resources has tempered the incentive to do a bit more with it. When driving across the electorate, besides having a grumble about how much fireweed there is in so many paddocks, I often contemplate what if there were large, long paddocks of high-value crops grown without irrigation for dairy cow rations and beef feedlots, and for food processors and manufacturers, or even licensed hemp production for the fibre and textile market. I'm talking more about rethinking of what we do with the land to optimise its use and the value of its outputs and increase overall economic activity, and supplying the raw materials to attract secondary industry. Can we think differently about land tenure? So there's leasing and share farming for the younger or entrepreneurial farmers who want to farm but can't afford the capital cost of land, which is particularly high in this lifestyle-rich environment. Western New South Wales agriculture is climate constrained. Oxley agriculture is incumbency constrained. I'm a little bit passionate about this. My parents were share farmers. It was the first step in their journey of their ultimate goal of owning their own dairy farm, which they did, which was about 25 kilometres from the national stalwart Blackjack McEwen soldier settler lot in the Goulburn Valley in Victoria. I want the next generation of young farmers to have the same opportunity. We believe that the guiding set of principles that underpins my party's states that all Australians should have an equal opportunity to contribute and share in the wealth of our nation, as we believe that initiative should be rewarded and those prepared to work hardest should reap those rewards. Another sector which is due a major rethink is forestry. Native hardwood forestry, think blackbutt, spotted gum, ironbark and tallowood, which are grown, processed and marketed into a range of products by numerous businesses in Oxley. Warhope timber from around Yarras features in the Sydney Opera House, transported by that famous Frenchman, Froggy Cassegrain, whose son and famous winemaker John Cassegrain is with us today. The tradition continues with Hastings Valley timber being used at this moment to decorate the high-rises at Barangaroo. Our mills and all the harvest and haulage businesses absolutely operate in a sustainable and renewable industry, and they have the right to continue to do so. There are some outstanding issues in the sector that I will be following through to underpin our industry's economic viability, social licence and environment credentials. There is a need to rethink the tenure trap, which started with the unscientific scramble to change tenure on large swathes of forest estate in exchange for green preferences. The opposition leader sadly recently fell into this trap. I wish he could have looked into the eyes of all the workers at our local timber mills to see their continued disappointment that Labor would treat them this way. The tenure trap overlooks the fact that hardwood forest ecosystems evolved under the management regime of the first Australians, and that they still actually need to be managed for their own good for the many threats, especially wildfire. It would be ideal if we had a forest of care outcome, not a bush or scrub of neglect. Why can countries like Germany and Canada come to sensible forestry decisions that are both sustainable and wealth-creating? Why can their environmental experts work alongside their foresters to come up with the best practice solutions that is a win-win? There is also a compelling case to review the Water Act to acknowledge the reality that North Coast is very different from the Murray-Darling Basin. I believe the Water Act can be tailored to satisfy the differences between Bellingen and Burke and Warhope and Walbert. I'm glad to say that the Nationals have always fundamentally understood the contribution of farmers and that good infrastructure is vital. And that is why regional infrastructure is going to be a big focus for this member. 2,000 people are employed in Oxley as we speak, building the Pacific Highway motorway, which will traverse the entire electorate, a $3.2 billion investment. It will transform our community, it will bring jobs, it will bring growth, and it will enable our goods to get to market faster and more efficiently. And travel, more importantly, will be safer for all. Over the next 4 years, the towns of Nambucca Heads, Urunga and Maxwell will join Kempsey and will be bypassed. Tourism provides 8.5% of jobs in Oxley, and we need to ensure the legendary Pacific Coast campaign is built on. So when the 16,000 vehicles bypass all those beautiful communities every day, there is a constant reminder of what is there through the most innovative signage campaign, using old and new media. We also need to turn our attention to the Waterfall Way and the Oxley Highway, the east-west routes, looking at 21st century ways to traverse the Great Divide without constant landslips and costly repairs. Rail continues to play a big role in Oxley. It connects our retirees with their families and ensures the socially disadvantaged a low-cost travel option. Plus, 50,000 tonnes of freight a week is moved on the North Coast line. Like many people in my electorate, such as Ray Campbell at Kempsey Station, I too have a connection with the railways. My grandfather was a ganger, and my husband was introduced to Oxley through his father, a Barnardo's orphan who served us in World War II. He became a steam and diesel train driver on the North Coast line, and he regularly took Warren and his brothers and sisters to Nambucca Heads for regular holidays. This vital line has been celebrating its centenary in Warhope this year. We need more rail advocates in the 21st century like Don Neal and Jeanette Rainbow, who are here today to continue the hard work and passion to establish projects like the Great Hastings Valley Railway and the Warhope Gateway project. And we need to get the Dorrigo Steam Railway Museum open. But I know I've got a good friend in the Transport Minister, Andrew Constance, who's going to help deliver all of this with me. Because, Andrew, as you know, we need more commuter services along the North Coast, like we've done at Bathurst, and we need the trains of the future to ensure the fastest travel times and connections, not just to our major cities, but between major regional centres. We need to support our local councils as well and help them move onto a stronger footing to ensure local residents have the water, the roads, the services and the planning that encourage ongoing regional development. To achieve this, we need leaders with courage, and yes, tough decisions are not always popular, but I won't shy away from what is right. In that leadership vein, I acknowledge in the gallery today the Mayor of Kempsey Shire and Head of Midrock, Liz Campbell. My 4 years as the first Parliamentary Secretary for Rural and Regional Health were the best years in the upper house. 8 years of opposition was challenging. With the support of Gillian Skinner, I was co-chair of the team that developed a blueprint for health delivery in the country for the next 10 years. I will support good common sense ideas and promote the people who are prepared to lead to provide community-based initiatives that keep people in their homes and out of hospitals. People like Jenny Zerkler from Nambucca Valley Care here today, and Cherie Smith, who owns a medical practice. She's also here. She, with the communities, created a dialysis facility in partnership with the local health district in Nambucca Heads, the first of its kind in New South Wales. As I drove past Kempsey Hospital last week, it was like a phoenix rising from the ashes, with the $1 million investment giving the people of the district the facility they deserve. Much different to the services provided by Slim Dusty's grandmother in the 1900s in Kempsey, who was the district's first local midwife. I salute Royal Far West, who has a strong connection to Kempsey, and under the inspiring leadership of Lindsay Kane, it continues to take hundreds of children and their families for intensive medical treatment a week at a time at the historic premises on the Manly beachfront. But now they're reaching out to children all over the state, with modern technology providing speech therapy, reading classes and even psychology treatment via the internet. We need to continue the investment in the education sector, ensuring our TAFE system graduates people for jobs our local industry needs. And I know, John Barilaro, you're right onto that. I will also work to ensure our high growth areas like South West Rocks have the complete education and supporting facilities they need. I look forward to working with Adrian Pickley, the Education Minister, my mate, to see that that happens. But even paradise is not perfect, and we have many challenges as a community to face in Oxley. I believe that one of the biggest decisions you can make in life is to have a child. It is a child's right to expect a home based on love, stability, security and unconditional support. But the sad reality is more and more children in our communities are not provided with this strong, vital foundation. 143,000 children in this country today are living in a vulnerable situation. Sadly, one of the biggest impacts on the Oxley electorate is the number of children living in less than ideal circumstances, which is having a profound impact on law and order in too many of our towns. There are 695 children in foster and kinship placements on the Mid-North Coast. Just one is too many. I'm so excited to be part of the Breaking the Cycle project that is being coordinated by the Department of Premier and Cabinet that is operating in the Kempsey Shire. And I thank you, Premier, for your support. This is a groundbreaking opportunity to address the systemic failure of social policy, too focused on good intentions and not on outcomes. I am determined this won't be a talk fest. If we listen to the people on the ground that are making differences to the lives of young people, that they are doing it tough. Brian Darby in Dorrigo, who has pulled many kids off the streets into the boxing ring. Cherie Foster in Kempsey, teaching families how to run a home and wanting to place volunteer grandparents with families. Mark Morrison from the Macleay Vocational College, who has equal amounts of passion and compassion. And the inspirational Richie Donovan from the Nambucca Valley, who continues to shape the lives of many fine athletes, including the goanna Greg Inglis of Barraville. I also thank the Attorney-General for meeting recently with the families of the Barraville Three. Hopefully this nightmare is coming to an end and justice will be served for Colleen, Evelyn and Clinton, and that won't be a moment too soon. There are so many people that have been part of my journey that I need and want to acknowledge. Firstly, my parents. They're here with us today. Thank you for turning east in the Land Rover and Caravan in the May School holidays in 1977. The Cobb Highway was closed and we couldn't go to Wilcannia to go fox shooting. We had great school holidays. So anyway, we turned east and we ended up at the Grassy Head Caravan Park right smack in the middle of the Oxley electorate. It was that holiday that transformed our lives and took us on the journey north. I've got to say, my dad was the secret weapon in the campaign that we've just run. He spent countless hours listening to people and would leave it to the last second to confess that I was his daughter. Many said if I was his daughter, then that was enough for them to support me. Thank you also to my mum and my brother Kenton, who are also here. My brother is having a very rare day off work. He owns a small business with his wife Monique in Dorrigo and are a constant reminder of how tough it is and why we must continue our agenda of reform to help those providing jobs and opportunities. My campaign team executive, led by John Simon, with Noel Atkins, Mary Tarr, John Supple, Brian Irvine, Barry Ramke and Janine Reid. Other key contributors are here as well, Maureen and Tony Barwick, with Patricia Baker, Susan Ranke, Les Wells, Cheryl and Barry Lewis, Kay and Dallas White, Barry Reid, Mary Kell, David Scott, Gordon Manning, Norma Daly, Alan and Nancy Taylor and Carolyn and Rex Fowler. You all continue to inspire me and I know you will keep me very real. They galvanised 200 booth workers across our 43 booths on election day. A stunning effort. The National's secret weapon, our grassroots army. A big thank you to my federal colleagues, David Gillespie and Luke Hartzucker. They wanted to be here today, but there's something about a budget in Canberra. I look forward to continue to work together to deliver for our region. My good friend and loyal soldier, Anne Lewis, thank you. Another Goulburn Valley girl. To the team at head office, led by Ben Franklin during the campaign, and now Nathan Quigley, in particular Alex Fitzpatrick, the Oxley team just kept their head down and got on with it. I would very genuinely like to acknowledge my fellow candidates who poured their heart and soul into the election campaign and gave the people of Oxley a genuine choice on election day. My political compass, Wal Murray, you are with me every day. Your decency, common sense, your down-to-earth approach was your secret weapon in politics. You weren't one to look over your shoulder to seek out someone more important. His daughter and Mayor of Moree, Katrina Humphreys, replicates that earthy approach, and she told me he'd be sitting on my shoulder today. My children, Jack and Emily, so very proud, and I'm so sorry, Emily, I wasn't there on the weekend. I had the Bellingham show when you got your first three-pointer at the carnival in the Illawarra. Jack, we had an amazing journey at Kokoda, both paying tributes to our paternal grandfathers. You inspire me, and now you're a little corporal in the cadets, so who knows where you're going to land. But to Warren, we met and fell in love in this place 25 years ago, so I couldn't have a better confidant and leveller. We decided that my role in politics would never compromise Jack and Emily's desires or goals. That is why you have been there for them 100%. That is why the North Coast branch of Surf Life Saving made you Surf Lifesaver of the Year in 2013, because of the hundreds of volunteer hours you contributed at Jack and Emily's club. That is why in 2011 you didn't travel to Government House to receive your award from Governor Marie Bashir for saving the life of a family from Golgong who were being dragged out in a dangerous rip. You chose instead to go to the end-of-year school assembly. That's just the sort of person you are. The people of Oxley are decent, down-to-earth, honest, hard-working and genuine. The type of people that would call a spade a shovel. I will represent them with the same integrity, candour and honesty. They deserve nothing less. And I know together we will help Oxley reach its true potential. I thank the House for its indulgence.
Peter.
I didn't come in and just do my speech, and then you can come on, because at 1 o'clock. Well, when he's finished, everything's running along. Right, thank you. Well, Danny, why aren't they clearing the gallery? Why aren't they clearing the gallery? Yeah, but no one's taken the last lot out.
What's the business after that?
I'm presuming.
Sorry about that. Is that the same? It just goes.
I thought we were doing.
That was interim, right? Do you think we're doing something else?
I thought we were going to do the East.
We may be. Tobacco